and today I will be talking about my processing and mixing of vocals with FabFilter plugins. So to make it easier to understand, I will explain to you what I use and why I use it. Before doing anything to my vocals or to your vocals, you need to do the first thing you need to do, the most essential thing, the most important thing. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to explain to you in order for you to understand this, but the most important thing, I repeat it again, the most important thing is recording correctly. Like I've said on all videos, if a monkey is dressed with the most expensive clothing, it will still be a monkey. This applies to vocals. It doesn't matter what you do with the vocal, you don't want that. So you want to make the best thing you can out of your mic first, and all the recording, acoustics, whatever, work on that first. So now that you have a good recording, this is mine.
It felt so good when our love was new, love was new. How did it come to this?
What I tend to do first, make sure you add it into a free mixer track. I'm using null project so I can show you guys the end result, whatever. What I tend to do first, and because it is what bothers me the most, it's working on the, they call it sibilance, which is all the S's and all the T's and all the white noise kind of sounding things. So for a long time, I was automating sibilance by hand because I didn't like the graininess that I got from all the D's I got, like the D's I tried. For example, Maximus or some FL Studio plugins. And FabFilter Pro DS in wideband mode is as good as automating by hand. What do I mean by that? So basically, vocals usually have, I'm gonna show you a part that has some extremely weird S's and T's.
It felt so good. It felt so good when our love was new, love was new. How did it come to this?
As you can see, this S, and then there's another S around here. It really doesn't even sound like an S. It sounds like some metal hitting you. So if you see it visually, you can notice that this part of the vocal, it's louder than anything else. So what I would do before, it's automate all these parts, so it would be kind of balanced with whatever else was around, but not in this time. I noticed I met this fabulous plugins by FabFilter. Actually, I don't have it here. So FabFilter DS is what you want. Where's it? So you want to have FabFilter DS. I use it in wideband mode, as you can see right here. It's a pretty basic, pretty simple BST that you can see. As you can see, it has two options: wideband or split band. You can select either it's a single vocal or all around. You can use this on your master if you want, or something like that. But in this case, we're gonna be using wideband because I love the sound that it has. The split band also sounds great and works well on taming harsh tones that can show up around 3K, something like that, not just sibilant tones. So we're gonna use a wideband. For this demonstration, I'm gonna just use a vocal, and you will see the difference. As you can see, you already have some vocals for male, and we are actually listening to a male voice, so male band. The difference between all these presets are, first of all, the spectrum that they're covering. So this preset, or you can do anything you want, but this preset is going from 6K to 14K, which is the usual range of a vocal, of a male vocal in the S's and T's. So in the range, usually you want to select how up it goes from the original value, which is 0, and then the threshold, how low. And usually this is a good, presets usually have a good numbers. Don't be scared of you presets. In this case, we're using this one to make everything faster.
So good when our love was new. So good, so good.
As you can see right here, this really sounds better. It's not as aggressive.
So good, so good.
As you can see, it's telling me which notes affected. It didn't affect all the sound. It's just affecting the frequencies that I'm telling it. So
good when our love was new, love was new. How did it come to this?
So this is step number 1. I tend to use this DS to use it as a de-easer, like it says. Next, I use FabFilter Timeless. I spend an inordinate amount of time designing my ambiances, so particularly on vocals. It's not uncommon for me to have 3 to 5 delays throws that I automate between throughout a record. So FabFilter gives me the versatility to create a number of delays, from the subtle ambience throughout the vocals to like crazy effects, and I can do very tight delays with this thing, or really spread delays. So to be honest, delay, it's a really cool thing to make your vocals stand out a little bit more, make it more creative, make it more cooler, as the kids would say, and basically it makes everything more complex. And to be honest, a lot of people tend to be scared of using delay simply because they're limited by what they hear from everyone else. And I mean, a subtle delay can really help you out. So don't be scared. Don't be scared of getting out of your limits. So I feel like I don't have much limitation outside of my own creativity with this plugin. And to be honest, I usually use a chorus preset over here called Ensemble Chorus. It's a really cool one, as you can hear. Let me play it for you.
So good when our love was new, love was new. How did it come to this?
It kind of makes the vocals wider. I tend to cut more of the highs. As you can see, this crazy FabFilter plugin, you can roll the highs, you can roll the lows, and it's all visual. It's easy to understand.
So good when our love was new, love was new. How did it come to this?
For this delay, it's basically like duplicating the sound, the signal, but more chorusy, and it makes it more interesting. It's a really cool thing. The other must-have thing for my vocals is FabFilter Pro R. With this reverb, I don't believe I ever run into any vocal that I couldn't make sound incredible, in my opinion. I'm not the best mixing engineer, but I mean, this plugin really helps me out. Even if you suck, it really helps me out. It has a lot of options. If you want to make your vocals sound bright, if you want to make it sound clean or chorusy, close or far, it has some decay rate, stereo width. You can make it either really mono or really spacious. And it really helps you out. What I really suggest you do is use a preset. Again, don't be scared of use presets. And depending on what you want to do, in this case, I don't really want to affect the sound of the vocal. I don't want to put it in the back. I just want to make a small reverb effect just to give it more space. As you can see, there's presets for vocals over here. It's already cutting the lows like I would already do. So what do I use reverbs for? I use reverbs because they help me out on working faster. And that's basically what I'm trying to do, work faster. And what I'm doing here is cutting the lows of the decay rate, and already cut the lows of this as well to about 150, 200, something like that. And this preset has some highs where the DEs where the tss are. It has some notches taken down, so it really this for using reverb on vocals helps you give it space. Referring to decay and release, not actual space in stereo thing. And it's really cool. I'll repeat that again. So with reverb, what you do is you give some stereo width, you give it some space as in release and decay, and it just makes your like the kids would say, it just makes your vocals wider. And if you hear the preset, it will sound a little bit drained, like drowned, I mean. But we're gonna take the mix down.
So good when our love was new, love was new.
I take it a little bit down, like 30% kind of thing.
So good when our love was new, love was new. How did it come to this?
As you can see, it widens up the vocal. And my favorite thing about FabFilter is that it's visual. And for example, if I feel like my reverb has too much lows, I can just get rid of it a little bit more. If it has too much highs, I just get rid of it. And that's easy as that. There's some weird reverbs out there that are really complicated, simply because you gotta really turn all the knobs to see what they're actually doing.
So good when our love was new, love was new.
Sometimes I use 2 reverbs. One to give it more space, and the other one just to give it more wideness. And yeah, next on the list on my vocal processing, it's a compressor. Every genre is different. There are certain questions you must ask yourself in order to compress vocals properly. A lot of people tend to overthink this. Don't. I'm gonna give you some questions that you should ask yourself before compressing. So, do the vocals sound already compressed? That's number one thing. Because sometimes when people record vocals, they tend to add a compressor on the tracking thing that they have. Next, you want to ask yourself what's the genre you're mixing. Does it require dynamics or not? Usually in electronic music like we do, we don't really need dynamics. We don't care about that. We just want to make people get the music on their faces. We just want to put it on their face. We want to do that in your face effect. Next, does the backing track simply put the instrument play at a steady volume? So what do I mean by that? You want to play the backing track first of all. So in order to do a good mix of a vocal, you want to know how the instruments behind it are, and really pay attention to that. So yeah, you want to listen to the background sounds. Let's listen to them, and let's see how much dynamics they have and stuff. As you can see, it's a pretty basic instrumental I have. You can actually notice some spikes on the piano, but that only helps us knowing what we need to do to the vocal. So really, really, really analyze the sound that it's not part of the vocal. I don't know how to really put it. So, but what I mean is, listen to the instrumental. As easy as that. Don't complicate it yourself. Listen to the instrumental and see what things it has. So, such as too much dynamics. So just pay attention to that, and then you know what to do with the vocals. Next, the solution to how to compress it is, how can we abuse the compressors and compress a lot without making the compressors choke? We want to do that. We want to have a steady vocal without making it sound like it's choking, like it's, oh, that sounds really bad. We don't want that. So my trick right now is compressors in series. People call it compressors in series. Basically, the name itself says it. What you do is you use 2 compressors. One of them, you just use a random compressor with a fast attack and a fast release to take care of the peaks. And then you add another compressor with medium attack and medium or auto release to play the role of a compressor that evens out the volume during the performance. So in simple words, first compressor takes the peaks out, and the second compressor levels the vocals out. So let's go to the dry vocal again. We're gonna delete the reverb and the delay and the reverb from it, and we're gonna add a compressor, which we're gonna use as the first compressor. Then we're gonna add another compressor, and we're gonna put it first in the chain. Let's actually call it first compressor. First comp, and then we got our second compressor over here. What you want to do with the first compressor is, that's not even the compressor. What you want to do with the first compressor, you can basically use a preset if you want, but we don't want that. What you want to do is take some fast attack. I mean, the first one that comes in, it's really cool. Around, I would say something fast. It depends on your vocal. I'm not trying to really tell you exact numbers, because it's not gonna. That's not how it works. It's about understanding what you should do to your own. So let's do something real quick.
It felt so good when our love was new.
Turn it on first.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new. How did it come to this?
So as you can see right here, these are all the peaks that I have right now. We want to do the threshold. It's already, when you actually open it as default, it already has some threshold options, and the ratio is about a 4. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new. How did it come to this?
As you can see, it's actually attacking some of the peaks.
It felt so good when
we can even go lower.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new. How did it come to this?
Don't overdo it, however, because, you know, this is the first one just to get rid of the peaks. Next compressor, it's for controlling. Oh, we actually want to open the compressor. It's for controlling the level of the whole vocals. So control, it's really cool.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new.
It's a really cool preset that has, actually, let's activate the auto release.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new.
That sounds way better. And what we did right now, it's get rid of all the peaks and then level up the sound, like I've said before a million times. Without them, it would sound like this.
It felt so good when our love.
You get rid of the peaks.
It felt so good when.
Make it more even, and then you take all the volume up.
It felt so good when our love was new.
That sounds a little bit better. It's a little bit over compressed, but it's EDM. We don't care about dynamics. We want everything to be on our faces. Some people might care about dynamics, but we're not making old indie music, so it doesn't really matter. Next, we got the... In my chain, I tend to use the first compressor, second compressor, then I de-ease, then I use my delay, and then I use my reverb.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new. How did it come to this?
Really low in volume, to be honest.
It felt so...
Referring to the reverb. So next thing on the list is I tend to use an EQ to fix the problems or bad frequencies and enhance or whatever that word is, the good frequencies. If you got access to the source sound, some people have the opportunity of recording at home, and sometimes they can just add an EQ while they record, so they can just not get those annoying frequencies. But this time we don't have that. With the EQ, we have the potential to improve our sound a lot. We need to use it properly. There are different kinds of equalizers with more knobs, less knobs. In the end, they all do the same thing. But we're going to be using the FabFilter Pro Q. As you can hear, let's analyze the sound first, like I always say.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new. How did it come to this?
As you can see right here, this frequency, it's really bothering me. So I will click on it and I will take it a little bit down.
It felt so good when our love was new. It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new. How did it come to this?
Actually,
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new.
If you put your mouse over your curves, they will stay like in pause.
It felt so good when our love was new. Love was new. How did it come to this?
This is
We
another
had
piece
the
that I really
arrow, our
like.
aim was true. Let go, but still we missed.
This is another one, and we want to affect it, but not too much. Around 4 decibels, 5 decibels. Don't go further. We don't want to actually affect the sound of the vocal. And what I like doing also is just adding a little boost on the highs to give it more like clear sound.
It felt so good when our love was new.
Maybe you can even, depending on your vocal, maybe you can even boost a little bit on some other frequencies.
It felt so good when our love was new. How did it come to this? We had the arrow, our aim was true.
I usually solo my vocals when I'm EQing them and doing all the processing to get it sounding good alone. And then I work around with all the instruments. So I have a frequency guide that might help you. All the fullness of the vocals, fullness as full, complete, not full as done, goes around 120 hertz.
It felt so.
As you can see right here, let's go to 120. You can see it right here. We're around 120.
It felt so good when our love was new.
This actually sounds like, if you boost it, you notice that this is a really essential frequency. Around 120, we can add some more fullness. Around 240s, which is a double, which is not that. 240, we have some boominess. So there's some vocals that really sound boomy. Maybe my vocal right now is sounding boomy because it doesn't have any processing.
It felt so good when our love was new.
Maybe my vocals sound like this. I'm pretty sure. So if your vocals is lacking boominess, go to 240. If it has too much, get rid of it.
It felt so good when our love was new.
If it's not full enough, add some of this. The air usually goes around 10K. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just giving some air around 10K. Some presence things are around 5K, but also the syllables, which are the ones that I just took out because some sounds that sound, they're just really bothering me. And those frequencies can really fatigue you around 3K to 6K. So I would say only cut around here, don't boost. And yeah, if you got any WAV files from commercial songs, some artists publish them. Then, so it's wise to go online and look for vocals from commercial songs, as in, for example, Selena Gomez and Marshmello, Studio Acapella or something like that. I would really suggest you go download all the vocals that you can and process them, or maybe use them as a reference on how yours should sound. And this is pretty much what I do to my vocals using FabFilter. I will show you how the vocals now sound laid down in the track, in all the instruments.
It felt so good when our love was new. How did it come to this?
I also tend to add some more reverb, extra reverb, just as actually giving it some space, like I've said. So it sounds really cool.
Oh, when I picture you in that dress, oh baby, I'm such a mess. I can't.
Like I said, I'm not the best vocal mixer, but hopefully this video helped you out somehow. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of useful information, especially on the compressor part. There's people overthink that, and you can really get some juicy vocals out of it. So hope you had a good video. Hope you enjoy it. Have a good day. Bye bye.